So yesterday I had the pleasure of visiting Tesla and going behind the scenes talking to some of the management people at Tesla and asking them some questions about how they got established, how Elon Musk has built up not just the business I suppose, but his personal profile and the way that he has, how he's really launched Tesla in such a dramatic, significant way, and of course he's making a hell of a difference to the planet through his mission. And I wanted to do this through the lens of the AVN Roadmap, fully understand how our program that we're helping you, the accountants, go through to make your businesses better, how everything that Elon and Tesla have done sort of fit into that roadmap. So we can make sure that we're getting everything right. We can look at different elements to add to those different sections of the 7 stages. So bear in mind that the first step is clarity. So let's just take a look at what Elon Musk did in terms of getting absolute clarity around what he wanted Tesla to be. Yeah, we talk about having a vision, we talk about having a mission. Elon had those absolutely nailed from word go. He had absolute clarity as to what he wanted to achieve in that business. So much so that he set about creating a 10-year master plan. Now, you might think that sounds really detailed for 10 years and maybe a little bit ambitious as well, but actually it was almost back at the fag packet type of detail in that he set about just 3 key targets over the next 10 years. The first one was that he wanted to build a low volume but incredibly expensive car to start with, and the reason it would be expensive is because it wouldn't be manufactured as part of a production line. Most of this stuff would be handmade, but it would be enough to get him going. So his first car was going to be low volume, high cost, and therefore high selling price. Next, he wanted to bring on a mid volume, if you like, a slightly higher volume, still expensive, and so some of the current models that are out there now are ranging really between sort of 85,000 upwards. And his next target then for that 10-year plan was to have a high volume, much more affordable vehicle, which is due to be launched this year or next year. His targets were absolutely spot on as well for when he was going to do them. So I think that's incredibly important learning, just to, a 10-year plan, even if it seems impossible, is worth having because you've got something to strive towards achieving. And so having a master plan is incredibly important, and you can view his master plan. He's made everything that he's ever done, dreamed of, envisioned, available online as blogs, as YouTube videos. So that was his vision, effectively, that 10-year master plan. Ultimately, his vision, his mission is to replace, it was initially actually to replace every single car with an electric car. His mission statement has changed now to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. And you may be aware that he's ventured into more than just cars now. He's doing solar panels that are in the form of roof tiles that not only look more pleasing than your traditional roof tile, but they're actually generating electricity. He's manufacturing brilliant batteries that are storing the type of power from those solar panels much more efficiently, and those same. And so if you imagine the whole ecosystem, roof tiles on a house that charge a battery, the whole house can run off that battery, that takes it off the grid, and also that same battery is charging the car up as well. So everything is running by solar power effectively. Interestingly as well, and this comes more into Purposeful, I suppose, at the end of it, but all of these inventions that Tesla has come up with and created for the electric cars and making things much more efficient, he has made freely available for any other car manufacturer to copy with his blessing, because ultimately his purpose is bigger than the profit that he's wanting to make. He wants to get rid of all of these carbon emissions really that cars are producing. So he's happy for BMW, Mercedes-Benz and all of the rest of the manufacturers to use his technology to adapt it if need be to put into their own cars, because he wants every single car on the road to be replaced by an electric one. So I think that's incredibly purposeful. he also felt that because he's such the leading edge, he didn't feel that any of those other companies were going to be a threat to Tesla. But ultimately he wants to create that competition for the electric cars, which ultimately will help everybody. Everything, all of his vision, all of his mission, all of his motivational speeches, if you like, to his team are all available online. They're on YouTube. He's got blogs that he just releases. So all of his vision, everything, all of that lot is available to everybody. So in terms of getting absolute clarity, he knew what he wanted to get, but he's shared that openly, not just to his team, not just to his customers or suppliers, but to the world. So even his competitors are fully aware of every single step in his plan and the technology on how to do it. So I thought that was fantastic. So that's clarity. That's the first stage in our roadmap, isn't it? The second stage is positioning. There's only so much I can share with you just in this brief video here, and I made so many notes as to the stuff that he's doing, but so in no particular order, because that's the way I store my notes. His values are crystal clear. The values, you know, we talk about values in positioning because the values are going to help you filter out the right team members from the wrong team members, the right clients from the wrong clients, and he uses the values in exactly that way. So he has taken his values and he had them from word go. On screen I shall share that with you now. His sales team, or any employee, those values are obviously drilled into them. If they're not following those values, they get exited from the business. It's as simple as that. Values are incredibly important, and yet so few businesses, so few business owners actually think about what's important to them, what are their values. So much more important than qualifications. Incidentally, by the way, the newer model, the high volume model, he's pre-sold. It's not even available yet. Talk about sell it before you build it. He's pre-sold $14 billion worth of these cars. Bearing in mind that currently the turnover of that business is $7 billion. He's pre-sold $14 billion of the cars that's not actually been made yet. Positioning. I talked about new team members. They go through a 7-day boot camp. Again, fully understanding all of his values, the ethos, the vision, the mission of the business. They now have 33,000 employees around the world. This business is about 13 years old. And they go through, they're trained upon all of the systems and obviously the product knowledge as well as part of their onboarding process. His stores are not like your conventional car dealerships. His stores are in the likes of shopping centres. He has a store on Oxford Street. I think it's the only car dealer on Oxford Street. There are cars in there that people can go and play with, just like you can go into an Apple shop and play with the computers, the Macs, the iPads, the iPhones in there. He's got the cars in there where people can play with them, and it is like playing on an iPad, because that's effectively what the dashboard is. It's an iPad, but it's twice the size of a typical one. And yeah, people will go in there and play, and the salespeople will let them play. They'll ask them a few questions, and part of their qualifying criteria for a prospect to ascertain whether this is going to be somebody who's likely to buy or not is all trained into them in that 7-day boot camp. So they ask qualifying questions, and if they don't feel that they're right for them, they'll just leave them to play. And if they do feel that they're right and likely to want to buy, then they'll pursue that a little bit further. But ultimately they're happy for people to have a play, because what's going to happen, they'll go and they'll spread the word and say, I've just seen Tesla, it's fantastic. Positioning. They have awards galore, awards for safety, right through to all of the technology that they've been doing. And applying for awards is something that, again, so few people really do, and yet awards add so much credibility, so much positioning to what it is that you do. He doesn't give discounts. How many of you give discounts? And I'm guilty of it myself sometimes, which is something I'm going to stop doing. He doesn't give discounts to anybody. He's had celebrities approach him and say, you know, if you let me have your car cheap or free, I'll drive it round, I'll advertise Tesla for you. And he won't do it. This is Elon Musk I'm referring to. So none of his employees, nobody gets a company car. If you want a Tesla, you buy a Tesla at the full price. It's as simple as that. He doesn't believe in advertising. He won't pay a single penny on advertising. You'll never see a Tesla advertised on TV or Facebook or any of those things. He doesn't do it. He believes in word of mouth, and he has word of mouth referral mechanisms in place. So in other words, every single person who's bought a Tesla has their own unique referral ID, if you like. And so if they refer somebody else, they put it in there and they are rewarded, and there are a variety of ways of rewarding them. They have a variety of USPs. I will again just show those briefly on the screen next to me, but the USPs have all been absolutely ascertained, trained into the sales team, and all of this comes through. And it's not just about the features of the car, but it's the longer term benefits. Even the likes of when you, if you're looking to buy a Tesla, or lease a Tesla, let's take the leasing route. I think you can take one of the top models for something like £600 a month. Now, it costs to use a Tesla on average about £130 a year in fuel, in electricity bill. Now compare that. Now I personally put between £80 and £100 a week into my car for fuel, diesel, and it costs £130 a year. So they take all of those into account as well. So when you're looking to buy one, if it's £600 a month, well, I'm already paying almost £400 a month just in diesel, never mind the purchase cost of the car. And so they'll take all of those things into account as well as additional benefits, because you're not polluting the atmosphere as well. From the moment you request a test drive for a Tesla, you're instantly put onto their nurturing program. So they will never organise a test drive within the next few days. It will always be a minimum of 14 days ahead, because they want you to have received their series of nurturing emails before you then get into the car. And they're kind of warming up that anticipation even further for driving the Tesla. So I think that's a great thing to put in place as well, isn't it? You know, we kind of warm up our prospect list, but this is going a little step further. This is actually making them wait for a test drive 2 weeks. 2 weeks of anticipation, looking forward to this drive. Anticipation is an incredibly powerful motivator. Moving on to value, and then I'm just going to summarise some of the others because I think the first three are the crucial ones at this point. But moving on to value, he has 3 service levels, even with the cars. Each car has kind of 3 service levels in themselves, so we're talking about the 3 key products now. He's got the high volume, the mid volume and the low volume that's coming out this year, but each of those cars come in terms of 3 packages each, and you can customise and build those even further with your optional extras, and it's all done online. And of course it's all fixed price, isn't it? No discounting whatsoever. People know what they're going to get, and all of this is calculated online. In fact, I encourage you to go onto their site and just build your own car. You don't have to buy it, but just see how it's all worked out on the screen. It's just a fixed price agreement generator. Another great thing I found with the value element is that every single Tesla that's on the road, and has been since the first one was released many years ago, has all of the sensors, all of the cameras and everything that will make it capable of driving on the road itself in an Autopilot. Now they're still developing their Autopilot. Right now it will happily take you from along the M1 for as long as you want to go itself. If you want to change lane, you just flick the indicator, it will do the rest. It will check it's clear and move, and it will just stay in lane and do all the rest. But they're updating their computer systems in every single car on average every 3 to 4 weeks. So every single person who's ever owned and continues to own a Tesla gets these updates. It's not just a one-off purchase. One of the latest updates, by the way, that went out was that they have negotiated with Spotify that every single one of their Tesla owners gets the premium paid-for package of Spotify uploaded onto the computer, this iPad-style dashboard that they have in the car. So everybody's just received that a couple of weeks ago or so. Every single car's got 4G unlimited data in it. It's amazing. If you haven't sat in one, I recommend that you do that as well. I sound like I'm a sales representative for Tesla, but that's the kind of experience that you get just being in their showroom. Yeah, so I talked about future-proofing, and all of that kit is in there. So at some point, all of the cars that are currently on the road, when the full Autopilot is fully available and they've nailed all the little bugs in there, then every single Tesla that's currently on the road now will have that facility built in. Gearing is where we look at leveraging the business owner's time through team. Well, he's got 33,000 employees now. Every single one of them, I spoke to in that workshop, and I've visited another Tesla as well. They are so passionate and proud to be part of Tesla. And that's not something that you see very often in other places. You know, you get your salesmen that represent, I'll not name any, but different car manufacturers, and they're there just to make the quick sale, where actually you can tell there's a serious kind of allegiance to the brand and to the name of Elon Musk there as well. Obviously, values, the culture, the accountabilities, all of those factors that we talk about in gearing are all in place within there. Automation, of course, the whole thing is systemized. He's big on using your initiative. You know, one of the values is take ownership, treat it like you own Tesla. But the systems are all in place, and they're there as a guide. So if you're not sure, you can refer to a system. People are trained upon the systems anyway. Profile is next in our 7-stage roadmap. The profile of Tesla and Elon Musk is phenomenal. You know, Elon Musk is almost becoming a household name. You know, I'd be very surprised if you haven't heard of the name Elon Musk. And you type his name into Google, and you will be presented with everything Elon Musk and Tesla. As I said, all of his passion is captured on YouTube. All of his blogs about his vision, his mission, his objectives, everything's out there on there. And he has a huge following. He releases a video, and tens of thousands of people watch this video within hours almost of it going out there. So he has a huge following in terms of his profile. And of course, with profile, we train our accountants how to raise their profile in their target market area. Purposeful, kind of touched on this. You know, Purposeful in terms of accountants, we're helping them become business advisors, business consultants, business coaches, ultimately making a difference and changing lives, and going a step beyond that as well, making a difference to the wider community. And that's certainly what Elon's doing. Everything that he's doing is focused on changing the world. So he's not bothered if, you know, if the competition take over and do a better job than him, he's still happy because he's achieved his purpose. So giving away the patents, for example, and even encouraging that kind of competition between the car manufacturers to get more electric cars out there. So anyway, that's just a bit of a nutshell, really, as to some of the stuff that I picked up from my interview. And I've got a lot that I'm going to be building into those roadmaps as well. So those roadmaps are going to continue to evolve and get better and better. And I'm organising other interviews with some fantastic businesses out there, so that I can take that learning back and just make this roadmap even better for our members. Anyway, hope that was helpful, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye.